definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Hey, what's happening? Happy Monday. Good morning, and welcome onto the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score, 107thescore.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app, brought to you as always by Happy State Bank, alongside Taylor Beadles. I'm Chois Woodman. Lucas White is across the way taking care of us. Jeff Haxton on his way to the Bahamas. That son of a gun. We are with you for the next 3 hours and would love to have your thoughts, comments, reaction to the weekend that was. All of that welcome on the Yates Flooring Center chat line through the 100.7 The Score mobile app and at 107thescore.com. What's up, Beadles? It's been a while since you and I have done this together.
I was thinking that when I saw the schedule.
Sometime in the summer.
Yeah, I'm sure, yes.
We got together.
Yes, when everyone was still so excited.
Pretty excited, yeah. Things have definitely had dipped in between, and now the excitement, not quite all the way back to summer level excitement.
Feeling
but
good, though.
Yeah, won 3 games in a row and winning the close football games, much like last year.
Yeah.
The November record is phenomenal under Coach McGuire. There was a time where November was a dirty word around these parts. So.
You just pencil in losses.
Yeah.
No, not even pencil. You could pen in losses.
So you won 6 games in a row in November. Task is tough this week, but we'll get to that. But, man, found a way to get another win. It's not the last couple of weeks, probably not the way Red Raider fans would chalk it up. Or not the way they would draw it up, pardon me. But you did get to chalk it up and get a win.
Yep.
So it's enjoyable to walk away from Jones Stadium. Now 10-3 in home games under Joey McGuire.
That's another big thing.
Very big.
Because I mean, especially like I lived out of town most of the Cliff and Wells era, and so you were
the common denominator.
Yeah, I must have been.
We needed you here,
right? And so I was coaching at the time, and so like when the stars would align, and I'd be able to come make a Saturday game, whether it was bye week or just weird things or whatever.
Yeah.
It just felt like I know this. Like we're going to Lubbock, like to have a good time. To see people,
right?
To see friends, see family. We're not really going for the game because I already know what's going to happen in the game. Like that's just an avenue to see the people we need to see,
right?
To come back to Lubbock. But yeah, so it feels good now to be like we are playing at home, So it's like
that's right.
Even like a week like this week when it feels pretty lopsided playing Texas because not only are they pretty good, but like their strengths align with your weaknesses in a way that I don't really like, but even if this was a home game, I'd be feeling pretty good. Like, you know what? Let's see. And then that kind of attitude is kind of what I think a lot of people associate with Lubbock is, Tech at Lubbock. That's gonna be tough to go in there and win. It wasn't that way for a long time, but it's back to that way.
Yeah, it used to be. I mean, you had a decade there where it wasn't.
Yeah.
Lubbock was kind of they used to be good,
right?
I mean, that's what people. People would say, and it's not as tough to win there anymore. You had plenty of, 3-3 type of home records, or you had a 2-4 in there.
You won like the Kansas and the non-conference ones.
That's pretty well what it was. Yeah, I mean, you had if you had a cupcake on there in the conference, and then your non-conference is what you would win. I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. This season isn't what people wanted in terms of preseason expectations. But, man, this team was buried a few weeks ago.
Yep.
3-5.
Yep.
And you're 6-5 right now. Feels a lot like the finish to last season. So it's okay to feel a little bit good about this team.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely going to be tough this week. But it feels like – for whatever reason, you couldn't figure things out early in the season.
Yeah.
And identity problems, all sorts of issues. But now it feels like you've found a way to win those close games, just like last year.
Yeah. It is also crazy how health lines up with figuring things out.
That's a big issue.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's been the issue the past 2 seasons. I felt like it was more of not more of an excuse, but more of an accepted excuse last year because you didn't have the preseason hype.
Yeah.
But even going into Wyoming, when you, like, all offseason, you're thinking, I shouldn't say all offseason because I can't remember exactly when his surgery was, but you're thinking, like, a guy like Isaac Smith, who we've, like, forgotten about by now.
Sure.
But he was expected to be a difference maker this year.
He was supposed to be one of your best pass rushers.
Yeah, and he hasn't played a snap. And it's just, like, there's a few instances like that where
it's fair.
By this point, they're forgotten. But if you want to trace why the season has gone the way it has, you point to things like that, along with what you said with, like, it didn't seem like we had our identity lined out early. And McGuire even said that recently, you know, like, that's something that he wants to change going into next year's. By game one, we know who we are, you know. And was that the coach's show last week when he said that? It was somewhere, I can't remember. But
it was the coach's show because he said exactly that. Like, we're gonna work on establishing our identity before the season.
And that's such an interesting comment because now that you hear it, it's like, well, that makes total sense. Like, you look at the game in Wyoming and you're just like, got it. Like, now that makes total sense.
Yeah, if we knew Taj was our identity before, he would have got 25 carries in that game.
Yeah,
in those first 3 games.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's already. I think he's second in the country in carries right now. So
that's a little concerning.
It was kind of crazy that he could have got him 50 more carries in those first couple of games.
Every offensive snap but one. Like, I can't imagine there's another running back in the country this week who did that.
But you've had to do that, and you've leaned on it. And holy cow, how gratifying was the finish to that game? Oh, my
gosh. I sent a text that said, like, I think that's my favorite drive in a decade. Like,
the number of times we've seen that on the other side.
Yes, I know.
As Texas Tech fans, where a running back just runs it down your throat.
Yes.
60,000 people know what's coming, and you can't stop it.
Yeah, especially because Taj had some good runs, but it's not like you were gashing them. Like, you would have like a 2, a 1, and then a 20, it felt like. But it wasn't like a consistent 6, 7 every time you handed the ball off. So that's another thing that made that last drive feel so good.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And with Taj, like you said, leading the country or second in carries, played every snap but one, highest PFF grade this week of any running back. Again, playing that many snaps.
I mean, he's run away with the title of most missed tackles.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he's way ahead of the second place in that.
We watched the first half, you know, from like about the 20-30, and then we went and sat with some friends in the second half who are closer to the end zone. And it's so incredible to watch him from that angle because there's not a hole there. Like, there's someone standing there. And then it's just like they disappeared and Taj is still running. It's just like, how did he do that? You know, that should have been a 2-yard gain and it's a 7. You know, and it's because he dodged 2 tackles in that short. And it's like he's not known for being the quickest. He's not known for being the fastest, obviously. But it's just like, whatever it is, it works.
He's a bowling ball.
It was so cool to see it from that angle on Saturday because it was so obvious, like, the skills that he has when you see it that way.
No, Taj is special. He walked through senior day. This is your last year with him. So you got 1, maybe 2 games left with Taj. Hopefully you get to see more of that over the next couple of games, especially against Texas coming up on Saturday. Get your thoughts in. Already a couple of questions in. You got questions, comments, reaction to whatever this weekend, because it was a very busy weekend. We'll talk a lot of football, but other stuff as well. Got some headlines for you next. It's the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score.
Definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Got some headlines for you. What you need to know, part of the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. Chois, Woodman, Taylor, Beadles joining you from the First United Bank studio this morning. Let's start with the bad stuff. Texas Tech soccer falls short 1-0 yesterday to the Alabama of the women's soccer programs.
That was more so frustrating too.
What, that you got that draw?
Or no, just that I like the game itself.
Oh, yeah.
Because you played pretty much exactly how you wanted to. Like, it wasn't the most exciting game plan, but it's like, you know what? We'll, like, We'll take the pressure because they had their 7 shots to nothing on goal, but 6 of those were right to the keeper. And it was like that's part of the plan. Like that's and it was just they had the one that was perfect, and then you just couldn't. They had that one girl and they're on like their defense that was just incredible. Like she was so fast. Like they could play the way they wanted to, pressing up and everything, because anything you tried to hit over the top, she's like, I'll take care of this. Like, it was very impressive, annoyingly impressive.
I mean, it is a pretty tough draw to get them as the 3 seed here, because they were a top 5 team a month ago. So it kind of stinks that you got that. That was a phenomenal program that you're going up against, but phenomenal season for Tom Stone and company. 16 wins, 2 losses, 5 draws this year. That was the first loss at John Walker all year. Just a great season that ends in the Sweet 16 for Texas Tech. And
I heard Hack say that's the first goal they've allowed there since August.
Yeah, hadn't allowed a true goal there. Been a long time. Yeah. That's crazy, isn't it? But Tech Soccer falls. Their season comes to a close, but congrats to Tom Stone and company. A lot of youth on that team that's pretty good that will be back next year as well. In the NFL, Dallas Cowboys win it 33-10 as they kind of put it in cruise control, winning over the Panthers. They are now 7-3 on the season. Deron Bland makes history.
I love that guy.
His 4th pick 6 of the season.
Yes.
We're in week 11?
Yeah.
And there's 4 pick 6s already.
One more.
That is tied for the NFL record. He can own it if he gets one more over the next few weeks. But dude is awesome. Cowboys fans or just people in general wondering who's going to help out without Trayvon Diggs. And Bland, has he actually been better than Diggs? I mean, at least.
It's definitely, to me, I'm just thinking like, man, if Diggs wouldn't have gotten hurt, like that's what I'm thinking. Because then you have
fly zone. Yeah,
you have 3 legitimate corners with Gilmore and Diggs.
Yeah, but
it's unfortunate.
It's been pretty good for the Cowboys nonetheless.
And it's so annoying to be a Cowboys fan right now, because like in the winning these games like they have the past couple weeks against bad teams, that's just, even in the NFL, that doesn't happen. Like it's rare to like have so many laughers like that. That says that you're a good team. But then
when you face the good teams,
it's just like, what is even
every time?
Yeah, it's like as impressive as the Philly loss was, which is an annoying sentence anyway. But it's like that. It's just so frustrating to be a fan of theirs.
Did you double screen it yesterday? Like, did you have?
I didn't watch the Cowboys game.
Oh, okay. You went all soccer.
Yeah, I kept up with it.
I actually did the triple thing once I saw how good Aberg was doing too. So
that's
trying to.
I just knew. I just get like good football there's nothing better than good football, but bad football bad football is even good, but non-competitive. Like the only interesting thing about that game was how that's like the first time I've seen Zach Martin get beat consistently by that. I can't remember his name now. The Auburn defensive tackle who got Brown.
Derek Brown.
That's it. Like I have not seen Zach Martin look like that. Ever. Like so that was like the one matchup, but I was like, it's not that fun to watch considering I'm a Cowboys fan, but it was interesting at least. Once I got my feel of that, I was like, all right, I want to go watch soccer.
Fair enough. Yeah, good pick. But so Cowboys win 33-10. One more note from the Cowboys. Jimmy Johnson, it's announced yesterday that he will go into the Cowboys Ring of Honor.
In 1923. Did you hear that part?
Do what?
Jerry Jones said, we're going to induct you December 30th, 1923.
Did he really say that?
And Jimmy was like, I hope you mean 2023.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So, well, he's just going back because it's so long overdue that he's just overcompensating.
Yeah.
Just putting the date 19. No, Jimmy Johnson will go on December 30th. So good move by the Cowboys. Took way too long. Houston Texans continue to roll. They beat the Cardinals 21-16. Wasn't pretty. Stroud had 3 picks in the game after entering the game with 2 all season.
Him and Tank Dell are so fun.
But yeah, the Texans go on to win 21-16. And tonight, Monday Night Football, we'll have it for you on Double T 97.3. Eagles and Chiefs, the Super Bowl rematch this evening from Arrowhead. That starts at 6:30 on Double T 97.3.
This is going to be a tough one for the woman that I live with because she annoyingly has become an Eagles fan. Can you guess why that might have happened?
No. I mean, like,
Just
bad husbandry? I mean, that's what it sounds like to me.
She started listening to a podcast.
Oh, my God. Wait, but so she takes that side of the podcast over because they're facing each other.
That's what I'm saying. This is going to be an interesting night.
Oh my gosh, my wife is all in on this stupid Kelsey stuff too.
It was so funny. Like I was like, well, she was doing something in another room, and I walked in, and I was like, what in the world is she listening to? Because it sounded like something I would listen to, and then I realized it was the Kelsey brothers, and so now she's in love with both Kelsey brothers.
The women love that podcast so much. I like it.
Yeah.
What I've heard of it, but
so I'm very interested to see where her loyalties lies. I assume she'll eventually side with the Chiefs because of Pat, but her Eagle love has been driving me insane.
That's disgusting.
Yeah,
when the Cowboys were playing the Eagles the other night, it just rekindled, and I was. There's not a team I think in pro sports I hate more than the Eagles.
Definitely not. It would be like I'm a big Mavs fan, so like the Suns are up there for me. But then it's like I remember like I paused and rewound. Like I hate Sirianni, the Eagles coach.
And I was
like, this is who you're supporting. Like I was showing her.
He fits them so perfectly.
And then she had the worst comeback. She was like, if he was the Cowboys coach, you'd love him. And I was like, stop.
No.
Stop making sense. Listen to me.
No.
Yeah. So I need to find out where her loyalties lie.
Disgusting. Yeah, we'll have that one for you at 6:30 on Double T 97.3.
And the pick'em comes down to tonight's game too.
I think, yeah, it's me too, isn't it? Me and the caller.
Yep.
Oh, come on, Chiefs. I need you. Definitely picked with the heart on that one, too. Though I think they are still the Vegas favorite. Lady Raiders in action tonight on 100.7 The Score and 107.7 Yes FM. Yeah, both stations. You can check it out as Texas Tech takes on UTSA in the final home game before hitting the road for Las Vegas for the Lady Raiders. They've looked good so far. 4-0 up to this point in the season. So tune that in on 107.7 Yes FM and 100.7 The Score. And if you missed it, not many people watch fall golf for PGA, so understandable. But Ludwig Aberg or Aubert, I haven't gotten around to calling him Aubert just yet. But he wins the RSM Classic with a 61 on Saturday, 61 on Sunday, shoots 29 under overall, which is tied for the best tournament score in PGA Tour history. 29 under.
That's awesome.
So Aberg already making history early on. He now has exemptions for the Masters and for several of those tournaments.
That's awesome.
Not surprising. He'll be playing in those, but very cool stuff for Luddy. Y'all hit us up. Your thoughts, your comments, your questions, whatever you want to bring in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Here's the first question of the day. Do you pull Morton if you're getting beat by Texas in the second half?
No.
Well, I'm trying to understand the why on that one.
I guess just because you want him
for
healthy.
A bowl game?
Yeah, you don't want something catastrophic, I guess, but no, you can't do that.
No. You're trying to come back if you're getting beat.
Yeah.
If you're getting beat by 50, that's one thing. Yeah. But getting beat by Texas in the second half?
Even then, it's just like put like Cam Valdez in there, get him some carries.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't see any need.
I don't. Why would you pull Morton? I don't understand. How do you guys feel about redshirting some of our best players against Texas, considering the gamble with those players entering the transfer portal nowadays?
I think it's weird.
I actually think you're not going to see them. You may have redshirt guys, but there's been a lot of
I think
guys.
Is who this question.
Specifically Rodriguez?
Because I don't know anybody else that would be. Is there another guy that has been injured that they're saving?
No, there's several of the younger guys that will get, I think, have a chance to get playing time here and then obviously in the bowl game.
Right.
That haven't played a ton this year.
Yeah. I think it's weird with Rodriguez. But I think it's understandable. But I also would say, like, that kind of future planning seems to never really work out in college football.
I think if it's one-sided, it doesn't work out.
Right.
Rodriguez, to my understanding, wants this as well.
That's a good point.
Yeah, if it's all coaches that want it, then that's not usually good. But if this is what he wants, then I guess good for him. More of your thoughts. We'll get some of those coming up next on 100.7 Score.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Rolling on to hour number 2. You're hanging with the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score, 107thescore.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. Brought to you as always by Happy State Bank. Happy Thanksgiving week. Thanks for joining us alongside Taylor Beadles, the teacher, Taylor Beadles. I'm Chois Woodman.
Teacher Tater.
Teacher Tater. There we go.
I hope that
Careful. That's how we stumble into nicknames around here. Usually misspeaking.
I should have pointed that out.
Like, I don't even see who's over there today. It's my
We have Luke.
Luke is with us. Okay. So, well, Luke is one of our interns. We have also Maris, whose name isn't really Maris. His name is Landon. So, but Hax was trying to read his lips over there, and his last name was Parrish.
Oh.
And so his name is stuck there. It's just, misspeaking will do that quite a bit. So we're talking Texas Tech football. We got a lot from the chat line. We'll catch up on some of that. Here's an interesting one. I liked seeing the tight ends a little more involved on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure.
Got them more involved, and it helps when you have two also.
Yeah.
Like it opens the others up.
I mean,
you can
I
run
thought
more
that
12
was-
personnel. You can.
They both should have had a touchdown because I didn't love that illegal man. I just hate that call because that is such a coach's call.
We have not seen it
I know.
the whole year. That literally, that has not been called in a Texas Tech game all year long.
I hate. And I say that, I think, was it that penalty that led to the Tharp touchdown?
I think it was, actually.
So I guess
yeah.
they both wouldn't have had one.
So, no, yeah, but it was the rollout that
Right,
ended up
yeah.
the Tharp touchdown, which was a fantastic catch. Great ball.
Okay, here's what's so confusing about this year, too, is like, so after the game last week, Morton probably shouldn't have, but told Level he was 60%.
Probably shouldn't have said that. Yeah. Says he's 60%.
And I'm like, okay, well, that makes a lot of sense.
It looked like you were 60% against Kansas.
And honestly, I feel like that helps us grade the offense, is because if that is 60% and we're 6 weeks from the injury at this point, like you kind of have to throw out everything that we've said. But then, like, he does what he did Saturday.
By far the most healthy he looked from my
he was slinging
untrained eye. Yeah. I mean, he looked. I think that's also, you've seen a comfort level with Baron Morton, too. There's been throws he's passed up on.
Yeah.
There's been things he's checked out of. There's absolutely a comfort level with the arm, and there is no question to me that was the most comfortable he's looked when he's played in 2023. I mean, he got hurt very early in the West Virginia game.
Yeah, we never really saw him, and that game was so weird. And I've never seen it. I said this at the time, but we didn't have a chance to talk. That's the best defense I've ever seen anyone play against Texas Tech. It was so out of character too. Like they played as a collective unit out. It was better because they did the 3 cloud, rush 3, drop 8 stuff that Iowa State did forever. They did it better than any I've ever seen Iowa State do it.
Yeah,
it was incredible. And it's like I haven't seen it since, so it makes it especially annoying.
It's interesting. So,
every time I went back and rewatched that film, I was just more impressed with what they did defensively, and it was so annoying.
Yeah. So, but Barron this past week looks comfortable. Throws over the top a couple of times. Didn't see it much after that, but if you watch, they're shading the safety a lot more after. Basically, early in the game, they went straight man coverage, dared him to throw the football.
Which is smart.
And then he throws over the top, throws deep. It's like, okay, we're not going to dare him to throw the football anymore. Opens up the running game for Taj Brooks. And
I had actually said last week that I wonder if it is smart to do what you can with Morton, because you just have to assume he is going to feel the best he can feel in the first half. And so I was thinking, because we've been kind of like against Kansas, I feel like you tried to ride Brooks early and then he was just done in the second half, and that's kind of why they
looked beat.
Win the way. So I was like, see what you can do through the air using other backs in the first half, and then just kill the game with Brooks in the second half. And you didn't quite. I mean, you did eventually kill the game, but I think that you kind of saw that that is a good way of looking at it, because Brooks felt so much fresher in the second half against the tired legs of that defense, and it showed.
These were from earlier. I missed him. Bullfighter says, "What up, TB?
What's up?
We all want to know who's going to have to spin it again. No one yet. We'll see. The tiny wheel is empty as of right now, but it comes down to tonight's game. Go Chiefs. I've never rooted harder for Patrick Mahomes than I will tonight. I mean, all things considered, I may be speaking accurately there. I mean, I love Patrick Mahomes, but I hate the Eagles so bad, and I really want to stay off the tiny wheel, so let's go. You are perfect.
I'm
aren't you?
9-0.
Wow.
Right now.
We haven't had anybody go perfect in like a year.
And it was me last year.
Oh, there we go.
So 9-0. Lucas has to get this Eagles pick to go 10-0. So I feel good about that.
How does it make you feel that like Travis Kelce's been in Argentina the entire bye week?
Oh, just fine. He needed a reprieve.
All right.
Actually, I have no idea. If it was a quarterback in Argentina, then a little more concerned. But meat-headed tight ends, I can say that. Yeah. Travis Kelce's not Rob Gronkowski, but I think
that's fair.
But I mean, he's Travis Kelce. He's jabroni, so. That didn't bother me that much. Beadles, good to hear you. That's from Shelly.
Nice.
With Rodriguez sitting out this week, does he have to sit out the bowl game as well?
No.
The bowl game does not count towards your eligibility.
No. That's why all those young guys, you'll see the ones, because I think they've been very strategic with a lot of them about getting them to 3.
Yeah.
I even think they said it. Like I think John Curry was the example, the linebacker from Coronado, about. Like he played special teams for 3 games, and like it's like we know like that wasn't an oversight. Like we know what we're doing.
Sure,
like, he's not going to play special teams a 4th and waste the red or 4. He'll play at 4, not 5th. I guess would be the thing, and then you could play in the bowl game.
Yeah. That's the thing is you get, you got your 4 games in the season. Which, by the way, there were people asking about Shough earlier and how's he's only played in 4 games this year, so. He gets a medical red shirt due to the injury. And
I didn't really consider that either when I was thinking about what he might do.
Well, I did. Someone brought it up a month ago, and I knew that was a possibility because I mean he'd only put the West Virginia game was the 4th game and gets that year back. So is this 7 years now he'll be in college football, or is it just 6?
Did he? I think he played as a true freshman.
Okay,
so I think it's 6.
6,
or will next year be 7? That's a good question.
I can't. Well, no, his first year as a or maybe it was a redshirt freshman was Oregon COVID, where he started, right?
Yes.
So I don't know if he played the year before that.
He backed up Herbert.
As a true
freshman, yeah.
So that's 2019.
So if this is on the Bo Nix scale,
22, 23, 24 will be the 6th year.
Okay.
6th year. So does he get an extra
2019,
year?
2020.
He may actually still have a 7th year if he wanted it, because the 2 of those are medical redshirt years. One's a COVID year. I don't know. If he put in, there's a chance he could get another year after this year. Don't think it'll happen, but heck, I didn't expect him to be in this situation this year.
Yeah.
Where he would be transferring out, and I guess we'll see where he ends up. My guess, somewhere left side of the country. But
just stay out of the Big 12.
But there's a lot of teams on the left side of the country that are going to be in the Big 12. So
especially for someone from Arizona.
Yeah, it's pretty strange. Maybe he goes full circle, goes back to Oregon after Bo Nix leaves.
Hey, sure, I'll take it.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Rolling on to hour number 3. It's the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. The 100.7 The Score mobile app and yours on television. Fox 34 News Now. However, and wherever you're joining us from, we're glad that you've chosen to make us part of your Monday, a Victory Monday. If you're a Red Raider or Cowboys fan, we can talk whatever you want. Bring it in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line through the 100.7 The Score mobile app and at 107thescore.com. I'm Chois Woodman with Taylor Beadles this morning, who's in for Hacks, traveling to the Bahamas. Dirty dog. Lucas White across the way taking care of us. You can keep hitting us up, whatever you got. 45 minutes out for Ask the Benchwarmers. So, Tech Hoops guy, I expect at least one question from you for Taylor. If you're out there listening. Lots of other stuff we'll continue to get into. South Texas Ambassador Preston chimes in, says, No, I asked Jeff this morning. He was dead serious. He's statistically and factually not correct. Okay, so Wednesday you two can hash it out. I don't quite get that one.
We will.
I'm sure. I don't understand that. He is McGuire. As many of you have probably heard on the radio when he comes on, Jeff McGuire, that is. We have to clarify that.
Yeah.
Now, around these parts, you got Jeff likes to be a contrarian, so he'll take a side that I don't know if he actually believes in or not, and then just run with it. Maybe that's what he's doing here. I have no idea. I would guess 99 point, maybe not 99.9, but we'll go 99% of people out there feeling fairly good about Baron Morton after Saturday.
I would hope so.
99%.
Yeah.
It wasn't a perfect game, but he did throw one pick.
And that pick was, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. It looked exactly how a pick would look with a bum shoulder.
Yeah.
Ball sails and is slow.
Threw it behind.
That's just what happens.
Yeah. Threw one pick, but overall, slinging it in the first half, looked comfortable on the run, just ran the offense well, and ultimately didn't have to do as much in the second half because you had a beast back there named Taj Brooks. Speaking of that, someone said Taj reminds me of that monster running back from Seattle a few years ago.
Marshawn?
Yep. I assume that's who they're talking about. If drafted at all, he will come in the later rounds. More than likely, he's offered a free agent contract. I would, looking at some of the boards out there, and this is, I would think you're going to see Taj drafted. I think he is not a high draft pick, but I think he will be drafted because right now he's anywhere from the 5th best to the 10th best back in this draft class, and I think you'll only see him move up as people. What you see a lot of times, when it comes to between the season and NFL draft, you'll see guys vault up boards. A lot of times either because of workouts or because people start to really watch their film. Guys that aren't as in the spotlight because you're on a 5-5 team or whatever that looks like, you'll see people really start to watch the film. We saw that with Tyree Wilson. We saw it with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
We've seen it over years, and we've seen people drop too. When the film doesn't speak as well of them.
And he may drop. I would be surprised if his testing numbers are very good.
No, I don't think they're going to be great. He's not super fast. But I think he is a prime old school third down type of back in the NFL. And he's very good at pass pro. That is something you have to be good at to get drafted. So we'll see if he ends up being drafted or not. I think as of right now, you would probably see him drafted, but that can change between now and the draft. It's also Victory Monday for us Texans fans. That's from Nick. My bad, Nick. I forget about the Texans. I
didn't know they were Texans fans.
That's a real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like Astros fans. They weren't around until they started winning.
I had no idea that they were Texans fans.
Just kind of kidding.
Good to know.
Yeah, I mean, Stroud's looked pretty good. Didn't look great yesterday, but, man, that is the surprise team of the NFL this year. Not many people had them 6-4 through 10 games. Cowboys are 7-3. This I have diagnosed the Cowboys a year ago. I was sitting here with Haxton. What we know of this Cowboys team, they kick the snot out of bad football teams, and when they face anybody with a pulse, it doesn't go well. And that's not. I mean, maybe that's the Mike McCarthy MO. It's really just the Dallas Cowboys MO in the last 10, 15 years.
I was reminded of something, like playing the Panthers was interesting because you almost consider the Panthers as like a joke franchise. Yeah. And they've been to 2 Super Bowls since the Cowboys have.
Yeah.
Like it's just,
it's kind of amazing. It's kind of like the Marlins in Major League Baseball. Yeah. Somehow that team has won a championship in recent history, and it's just sometimes those teams can get hot. How can you not get a team that is America's team hot for a season, for one, like put everything together one time.
I know.
Haven't been to a championship game, a conference championship game since '96.
Well, that's that list. That's like the Browns, the Lions, the Cowboys, and like the Commanders. Like that's like the list of teams that have it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
But
and that's why
does that change this year?
I mean,
it feels like the league is not as top heavy.
This definitely feels like the best chance you've had.
I say the league's not as top heavy. All the powers are in the NFC right now.
Because I mean, a pass rush, like, and the problem is too is like the Cowboys are really weird when they play on grass compared to turf, and then that's when you lose a game like you did to Arizona, and like what if that keeps you from having a home playoff game, and it's just, and then of course Philly and San Francisco play on grass, and it's just like you have a good team that is perfectly built to lose to the teams you have to beat in your conference. Like it's just like, I feel like if you were in the AFC, I'd like your chances because you're going against teams that kind of match up well. Like as good as the Chiefs are,
you're exactly right.
I would take that pass rush, if you were going to have a chance against Mahomes, and it's just like, that's the kind of stuff that's annoying is the two teams that you have to beat. Like, I was impressed with how close the Philly game was because I think you match up terribly with Philadelphia.
Well, I mean, Ax and I went over this last week, but if you're power ranking the NFL teams, Cowboys, I mean, we both had them at 4th right now.
Yeah. It's like you don't want to, but you have to.
I mean, I know. It's like they still haven't beat anybody with a pulse, but the margins of victory in the games they're winning are enormous.
Yep. It's ridiculous.
Can they get over the hump and beat one of these good teams? I don't know. We're not going to see it this week because you got Thanksgiving against Washington, which is the biggest trap game ever, seems to be every year, every time they play.
Yeah. I just assume Thanksgiving is a loss, which is so different from what it used to be.
Oh, I know.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It is time for Ask the Benchwarmers. Bring your questions in right now. Yates Flooring Center chat line, easiest route. You can tweet us at 107 The Score or dial us up if you want your voice to be heard on the Visual Edge IT hotline, 806-771-0973. He's Taylor Beadles. I'm Chois Woodman. Lucas White across the way. Questions for any and all of us are welcome. Quite a few questions in already. This one for Lucas. Where did you live in Illinois?
I lived in Aurora, which is
Aurora
a suburb
College
of Chicago.
What was the name of the
Aurora University.
Aurora, I can't say Aurora.
Is that where the McAllisters lived?
No.
Where's Hacks hiding? I wanted to talk some trash to Mr. Pessimistic. Told y'all 175 plus for Taj. Yeah, I give him over-unders every game day. I set it at 150 for Taj, knowing what the rushing defense was like on the other side, and he took the under, so taking a little flack there.
That's understandable.
Yesterday, the broadcasters were saying that Bland changed positions and took over for Diggs when he got injured. They said that they believe he has been even better than Diggs. Thoughts?
They're different, I would say. It's one of those where I would want Diggs. Like, if you're playing like an A.J. Brown, I want Diggs because he has that top level of talent that Bland just can't get to. But for most of the matchups, Bland isn't the type that is going to bet on his talent the way Diggs has.
Yeah, he doesn't gamble as much.
Yeah, to get burned. So it's home. That's why I was kind of saying earlier, like, it's annoying that they're not playing together because they're such a good combo. Because with a guy like if you're covering Brown or Tyreek Hill or one of these like top receivers, it's like you need a guy who's going to gamble because you're going to get beat by that guy anyway. So you might as well try to win some of those matchups, and that's like why you want a guy like Diggs. But
that route he jumped yesterday was pretty impressive. But yeah, I completely get what you're saying, and I agree. They're different because the position he changed from, he was a nickel, basically slot corner before, and now he had to move into one of the starting outside corner spots, and he's done excellent there with Gilmore on the other side. Speaking of Dallas blowing out bad teams, a lot of Tech fans treat the wins as losses, close wins as losses. See Kansas last week. and to much lesser extent this week. Do y'all think it's because they are Cowboys fans and see the curb stomp bad teams, so they overreact when Tech fails? No fan base dumps on their own like our fan base, just trying to figure out why.
I think my theory on this is because the offense looked bad.
Yeah, I've said this for forever.
Yeah.
We are so conditioned to offense in Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah.
Have been. What I said last week after we were getting so – I don't get it either, but we get so much flack after the Kansas 16-13 win. It's a freaking ranked win on the road that you haven't had in 5 years.
Yeah.
And I said if you went and played UCF and won a game by 3 points but 45-42 the next week, no one is going to bash the defense. So why are we giving up 42 points?
Yeah.
No one's going to do that.
Because
we're conditioned to offense.
Yes. It also has something to do with the jersey, because if you go into Stillwater and win 16-13 against the 16th ranked Pokes, then nobody's complaining. I mean, heck, if you if you went into like, that might be too close to home because it's more of like a rivalry type. But if you went into like a 16th ranked BYU team in Provo and won 16-13, nobody's complaining about that either.
Those are your two best wins of the year, the last 2 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at the other teams you've beaten, largely a bunch of teams that aren't going to make bowl games.
Mm-hmm.
UCF's probably going to make a bowl game after they beat, is it Houston this week? I think it's Houston. Houston or Cincy. I can't remember.
It's a winnable game.
Yeah, it's one of those two teams.
Because that's like TCU has OU.
Yeah, they got a home game against Houston or Cincy. I can't remember which. Those are your best 2 wins of the year.
Yeah.
Those last 2. Gentlemen, this is from Lucas. Not this Lucas, but Lucas on the chat line. Gentlemen, who is your top 3 as far as heartbreak transfer players from Tech? In other words, athletes that left Texas Tech to another program that left you feeling sour. Never. I wouldn't call it heartbreak. Heartbreak and sour are 2 different things to me. But number 1 is still Kevin McCullough because of school he went to.
Definitely. Yeah.
I don't know. For non-baseball fans, this won't matter as much. But the Mason Molina thing was just a blindside this year.
Yeah. That
I had no expectation. I have no idea why he did that. I mean, I guess I do. NIL, but. And tampering and all sorts of stuff there. But those 2 jump out. One in retrospect that you could really use right now.
Jalen Polk.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
Polk, who's had a successful season for Washington. Yeah. That one was as tampering as it gets because story is basically Washington tells him, hey, you got a week to decide this. You got to make a decision right now. He followed a high school teammate to Washington, and that one was out of nowhere. That was a surprise one.
I've also heard that we weren't super trying to keep him because that was also a weird time of transition with our coaching staff, and he was
freshman year. Or good
I think he was just kind of a different dude, and it wasn't. It was it was one of those deals where we didn't see this coming from him. Because, I mean, you think about the time, you also got Bradley, Sparkman, Price. Like, you think like, well, these 3 will be
supposed
better.
To be, yeah.
And so it's like, well, we can lose this one, but obviously
that's
called that wrong.
That one would have loved to have Polk. I'm trying to think of other guys that transferred out that I'm really torqued up about.
Somebody like the Lake Dallas kid who transferred to like Illinois or something.
TJ Shannon?
No, sorry, football. Corner.
Yeah, he's not Lake Dallas. I know who you're talking about. I can't think of it.
But he'd be nice to have. Phil Bleedy, just bodies on the defensive line.
Those would be nice. But there haven't been the most gut-wrenching one is Kevin McCullough, and it's not close. So, maybe if y'all have any, y'all can chime in.
I mean, Mayfield could be an answer just because of how annoying that whole narrative got.
Someone says Ramsey in basketball. He didn't transfer. He went pro.
He transferred to the G League.
Yeah, he went pro immediately. So no ill will on that one. Benchwarmers against Texas. Better to have lower scoring or higher scoring game.
Lower.
I would say lower. I mean, you've had success the last 2 weeks with it. It's more. I mean, it probably is more frustrating for Tech fans, but you can play that style.
They can score. Like I said earlier in the show, like they just match up well. Like, I mean, though their interior defensive linemen are the best that we'll see all year, and I would say that's the weakness of our offensive line. I mean, yeah, they've got skill. Like, yeah, I would like to keep that low and kind of hope to swing it late.
Benchwarmers, this is from Bullfighters, specifically Rangers fans. It seems that Juan Soto, who is set to become a free agent after the upcoming season, is on the trading block. Considering what it might take to acquire him, would you want the Rangers to get him? No.
I want Ohtani.
Well, there's a lot of there are a lot of good free agents out there right now, or you don't have to go spend your own prospects to get Juan Soto, and you just won a World Series without any of that. So
my philosophy too.
I don't want to be fat
like,
and happy, but I'm pretty fat and happy right now as a Rangers fan.
And if I'm going to spend assets, I'm going to spend it on pitching.
That's a great philosophy.
And I'm not even like a big baseball guy, but that's just what I've always felt.
There's a lot of pitching out there in free agency too. Soto, I mean, you're coming off of having the best offense in Major League Baseball, so I'm not saying don't add to it. Like if Shohei Ohtani, if you want to spend money there in free agency and he wants to come.
Oh, yeah. Spending money if he was free, I would be like, sure.
That's different.
Yeah, it's not my money.
But
there's no cap. So.
But spending prospects, no thank you.
Yeah.
Benchwarmers. Oh, this one's from Clint.
Clint Scott?
Yeah.
That's
what Black Friday item would make you fist fight someone to get?
There isn't one.
Turbo Man.
A Texas Tech win in Austin.
That's actually a great item.
Yeah.
You think they're selling that? Because I'd spend some money on that.
I'd fight somebody for that.
I would definitely fight somebody for that. No, you're not a Black Friday shopper?
No, not usually. Nah. If we need something, like I've got
kids now.
My last Xbox I got on Black Friday. Maybe if we need a TV, so we may venture out to get a TV. Yeah. But that's about it.
Turbo Man. That's the one for me. Black Friday item. That's it for us. Appreciate all the thoughts, comments, questions. It's been fun. Taylor and I will be back at it tomorrow. Till then, we hand you off to the bottom line. For Taylor Beadles, Lucas White, I'm Chois Woodman. It's been the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score.
This has been the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 107thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.